xin trân trọng kính chào quý vị khán thính giả. Thưa quý vị, tuần trước thì chúng tôi có gửi đến cho quý vị một cái cuộc phỏng vấn ngắn khoảng 5 phút giữa Tô Uyen với đạo diễn trẻ Đinh Thái cho cuốn phim ngắn mang tên Monday mà anh đã thắng giải nhất cho cái giải HBO Visionaries Award, thưa quý vị. HBO Asian Pacific American Visionaries là cuộc thi phim ngắn để khám phá và chia sẻ sản phẩm của các nhà làm phim người Mỹ gốc châu Á Thái Bình Dương. Và để mừng cái tháng gọi là cái tháng di sản văn hóa người Mỹ gốc châu Á Thái Bình Dương là tháng 5, thì tất cả 3 phim ngắn đã thắng giải đều được chiếu trên HBO Now, HBO Go, HBO On Demand và HBO Zone suốt tháng 5 2017, thưa quý vị. Sau đây thì Tô Uyen xin mời quý vị khán thính giả theo dõi cái cuộc phỏng vấn của chúng tôi trọn vẹn hơn giữa Tô Uyen với đạo diễn trẻ Đinh Thái về bộ phim ngắn của anh mang tên Monday. Can you talk about what was your upbringing like in LA, living in Los Angeles?
It was very diverse. You know, there was a lot of Asian Americans. There was a lot of Mexicans and Caucasians, and it was just a really good group of young kids who sort of had a chance to get to know each other and experience each other's cultures. I have a lot of good friends that are Taiwanese, Chinese, Koreans, Japanese. You know, try to make friends with everybody. I think that mixture of culture is really funny. If you ever get a chance to hang out with a couple of my friends and I, we make fun of each other all the time. One of them is Japanese, Greg. The other one is Mexican, Fidencio, and obviously I'm Chinese, Vietnamese. And it's a constant comedic show. We just make fun of each other all the time.
Speaking of taking all those materials and put into films, is that what you did for this short that you produced and written and directed?
Yeah, for Monday, it was. There's a lot of inspiration that comes from my sort of upbringing and my interaction with friends, and especially the racial nuances that I think I've gone through being in Los Angeles, interacting with different types of people, and I always make fun of myself, and that sort of opens up the door for people to make fun of me, and then we sort of have this banter, and I try to keep that in the story because I think, you know, it's interesting. I think it's funny.
Can you talk about the making of this film? Because the lead actor, he's Asian American. His name is Kevin
David Lin.
Can you talk about the casting process and why did you pick him to play the lead role in your short?
Well, we were really lucky to find Kevin. Actually, I would like to say that he sort of showed up, you know, because there was the casting process was. We used Backstage, and we looked for people that had the right look. And we would ask some of the actors to send tapes. And Kevin, ironically, didn't send a tape. He just sort of showed up.
You mentioned earlier that you had, like, an image or Kevin in mind, but you didn't know what you want your main character to look like until you saw Kevin. But the process of writing the script, did you kind of have like a certain image of certain actors already, but you just...
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely, you know, Quan had to look very natural and neutral. You know, he could...
What do you mean by neutral?
Well, he doesn't look like a guy that's going to make a bunch of noodles in the kitchen.
Or study, or getting his PhD, or, you know, or being a doctor or something.
Sure. And he doesn't look like a gangster ninja guy, right? So he doesn't fit the visual stereotype. He fits a very specific. I don't want to use the word neutral again, but he doesn't allow the audience to prejudge him into a stereotype.
How long did you have this idea in mind?
It was an old idea. Excuse me. It was an old idea. It was a comedy idea. It was like a very goofy character that would transform into different characters when he hung out with different types of cultures. And then this idea popped back in my head, and I tried to make it a little bit more serious, but still retain that sense of comedy. And then I knew what was interesting to see, and so I tried to write towards those scenes. And then I had to give it a reason, and so that is what happens at the end. You know, it sort of comes all together.
Did you see yourself in his character?
There's a little bit of me in there. I
Which
don't want
part?
to take too much credit. I can't say.
The good-looking part or the hustle part?
Just the funny part. Just the funny part.
Can you talk about like when you had this idea and you wanted to do this film, like how were you able to find the other actors, the Latino actors, the African American actors to fit in the story, in this short?
So I had some ideas, like some predetermined ideas of what these people would look like, these characters would look like, and so we had auditions and casting, and we just looked at a lot of really talented people. But what really stuck out were, people that sort of brought their own ideas to the characters and made us laugh, made the producer and the producer Brian Brigette and my executive producer and business partner Josh Falcon, they made us laugh. They gave us, a sense of realism to these, to these black and white words that are on a page. And so, in fact, I would say a few of them were the last people of the day. And usually the last people of the day, you're worn out, you don't even care. But, there's a handful of them that really came through. And Joe Cadiff, who plays Jerry, he really developed that character. I gave the character the energy and the words, but he completely took it.
And you gave him the freedom to develop that character.
I didn't have to give him anything. He just ran with it. He had ideas. He started texting me pictures of what this guy would be wearing, and it was like this. It's essentially a hybrid of what you see on the screen.
Were there any challenges you had to face during the 3 days shoot that you didn't anticipate?
Well, I've been doing this type of stuff. My company and I and my business partner and I, we've been making content for ad agencies for a while. So the production aspect of it is normal. We know what we're getting ourselves into, right? It's what was new was really working with actors and being cautious of how they feel, what they're thinking, and that was pretty new to me because most of the stuff that we were doing in the past were real people and very commercial-like. So everyone's kind of there just to get the job done. But this project was more. There was more passion in it, more emotion in it, and so learning how to make adjustments to my personality, to the people in front of the camera, the actors. That is. I think that'll always be an ongoing challenge.
You have to be more cautious working with actors, how they feel as actors themselves, or how they feel as the character they're playing.
As people.
As people.
Yeah, I'm very straightforward and straight to the point. Not everybody wants to hear
the truth.
Not the truth, just they don't want to hear it that way, right? So easing into ideas, finding the right way to talk about a specific blocking or a specific gesture in a character. There's ways to go about that. Some people some actors like very specific details, so I have to figure out who that actor is and when to work that way with that person. And then other actors like to explore on their own. And so, you have to give that artist that freedom. And so learning how to make adjustments on set is probably always the biggest challenge.
The film won first place for the HBO Visionary Awards.
Yeah.
Were you surprised when you heard your name?
Well, thanks to a lot more than just, myself. There was a lot of people that helped this thing become real. The cast, the crew, the actors, all the conversations I had with all my colleagues about the script.
Do you think that you could turn this short into a feature film?
Yeah, sure. But I think the TV series idea is much more fascinating because you could take your time to tell and explain much more, and discover and evolve a lot more with a TV series. There's just so much going on.
The first word that came in mind was Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
A little Breaking Bad. And I don't know, like a little flavor of Breaking Bad in this TV show.
Yeah, you could relate this short to many different TV shows. There are themes that we are very familiar with, and that's that was part of the creative idea behind making this short, was that it wasn't very new. It wasn't very fresh. It's very simple. It's relatable. You've seen these stories before, but the idea is that you haven't seen it this way.
Right.
Just a little bit of a shift.
Right.
Right. And I think people can get with that. Because I don't think, only a few of us, I think, are ready for 100% Asian-centric material. Only a few. You know, we're only 6%, maybe even less than 6%. Asian Americans, 6% of the American population. So when you think about it as a numbers game, you know, there's no buying power there.
We're way behind the Latino community and the urban community, right?
Yeah. You know, Hispanics are about 12%, and African Americans are about 12%.
So we're half of their numbers.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not so sure about those numbers, but somewhere right there. Asian Americans are a small percentage of America. So like I said, there's not a lot of buying power.
Yeah.
And so how do we tell stories that get us, how do we tell and bridge the gap so that mainstream America wants to see some of these stories?
Now we see there's a couple of Asian shows like Dr. Ken or Fresh Off the Boat on ABC, and I heard that Daniel Day Kim also produced a few other TV shows that mainly cast all Asian. And then there's John Chu movies coming out with all Asian casts as well, right?
Yeah, that was, what is it?
Something
Crazy Rich Asians, yeah.
Right. So
slowly but surely.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty confident that if you decide to do this and create this in a TV format, definitely it's going to be a successful show.
I hope so.
I'm very confident.
We'll see what people say about it. But again, it's trying to ease the audience into these stories. It's not, you know, like Robert Downey Jr. said, you can't go full retard.
Was that what he said?
In Tropic Thunder, he says you don't.
That was so long ago, and you have good memory, because I remember that movie was so funny, but I did not remember anything he said in that movie.
You know, and I don't want people to take that, to spin what I said, but it's the idea is that you know, you want to ease people into our culture, you know, just slowly, one step at a time, not too much, and then they'll be ready.
Why did you decide to use the title Monday?
It was poignant, you know, when I was writing the script, it was all these things were happening, all these little moments started building up into this end, and I thought that it was the right word to use to end the film.
Thanks Dan. Và chúng tôi được biết là HBO sẽ tổ chức cái cuộc thi thứ nhì vào mùa hè năm nay. Và đó là một cái tin vui, những bạn trẻ nào mà muốn gọi là submit cái phim ngắn của mình thì nên làm, tại đây là một cái cơ hội tốt để cho chúng ta trổ tài cái tài làm phim của chúng ta. Xin quý vị khán thính giả, với lòng giữ màn ảnh SBTN, chúng tôi sẽ trở lại sau phần quảng cáo.